Asian Paints has always been a market leader and a creator of new pathways for a variety of design and decor fields in India. This time, we are back with another year of The Masters. The Masters Loyalty Program is an initiative to recognize and reward excellence in the design and decor fields. It is a space to let your work shine, to engage and grow together with the pioneers in the field, to showcase the best of architecture, interiors and decor. This initiative also provides you a chance to be a part of the best design congregations such as India Design Week and India Woods Awards. Joining the Masters Club will enhance your professional experience through a point-based reward system and will open a doorway to wonderful gifts and successful business ventures. Apart from this profitable engagement, we offer you an in-depth feature of your dream projects on our digital properties and social media platforms. Your association with the Asian Paints Color Pro team, a 360-degree service providing step-by-step assistance, will help you realize your dream projects and connect with the Masters Initiative. We at Asian Paints welcome you to join us for the 4th year of The Masters.
Good evening and welcome to the very first episode of Space Pro Season 3. This episode has been brought to you by Asian Paints Color Pro. Our master speaker on this episode is architect Ekta Parekh, founding partner, Red. Ekta has worked in varied environments of small design studios to large-scale corporate offices, both in Mumbai and New York, bringing to the practice a blend of team spirit enriched with a curiosity to question the norm and empathy to give wings to one's dreams. Her experience ranges from architectural and interior design projects in the residential, commercial, hospitality, healthcare, and institutional sector. Ekta, an undergraduate degree from KRBIA in Mumbai, has a master's degree from UPenn, Philadelphia, with theory and technology as her major. She is also a juror occasionally at KRBIA and BSSA in Mumbai. Proud to introduce to you our master speaker, architect Ekta Parekh.
Hi everyone, I'm Ekta Parekh from Red, one of the partners. It's a firm that we started in 2004 with a lot of passion. I don't know how many of you all know we're a partnership of 4 people, and it's a very multidisciplinary studio. We design everything from educational campuses which stretch over acres to product design. I think the difference in scale is what keeps this interesting and innovative. So thank you, IDAC, for having me on this platform, and thank you, Asian Paints, for making this really fun, interactive session, which is to follow. So when I was invited here to talk, one of the things I was asked to talk about was the living room, and for one of our projects. I think the one I'm going to talk about and present is very dear to us at many levels, as are most clients, but I think it's also because of the narrative behind the particular project. So without much more of this, I will just quickly share my screen. So the living room. I think this was one of the things that we were asked to talk about. And I think when designing any space, I think what really starts the conversation is the dialogue between your end user and you as a designer. So while we were given this as a plan that came from the developer, it's a duplex. And of course, this was the lower floor, which was going to house the living room. It had a double height space. It had large 24-foot windows towards the living room side, which was the typical developer plan, which you're seeing on the screen right now. But it was more a conversation of where this was going to be for our end user. She is actually somebody who is really passionate about cooking. She's somebody who bases her house on dinner parties, which are arranged for people. So it was very critical the way the plan changed and morphed to accommodate her needs. We didn't really need to have 2 bedrooms on the lower floor. They do have an upper floor where we thought the residential space would kind of be. And so the way the plan developed and morphed was more a requirement of that conversation that we had with her. So here, like you see in the next slide, our entrance is from this corridor, which was the main entrance, which of course couldn't be changed because you can't really change homes from outside in apartment buildings. But when we came in from here, what we did was we kind of tucked in a back kitchen, which was more a service kitchen for staff. It had access to the back areas of the utility, more the washing, the cleaning, the cutting, the chopping, which happens, which is things which you don't really need to have in the forefront. And then you kind of walked into this large sort of palette, which became a clean sort of living space. This space on this side was a bedroom, which of course we didn't need as a full bedroom. So what we did was we knocked down this wall and kind of created a sliding partition where you can open up this area and it becomes your TV space. So if you have the option to watch television, you can close off these shutters and not be disturbed. At the same time, somebody else occupying the space can occupy the living space or the dining space at the same time. In Mumbai, we've always had to deal with multi-adaptive spaces, multifunctional multi-adaptive spaces. It serves us really well, even though the sizes of the homes may be large or small. It kind of helps to kind of use the spaces for multiple things at different times of day. Now, speaking about this client of ours in particular, like I said, that she likes to entertain, she likes to cook. That's sort of her passion. We actually did an outside pantry counter where all her sort of very near and dear kind of equipment is kept, her Gaggenau, maybe microwave or oven, things that she would use, her larder, her pantry. And then the dining table was in the double height space because that was sort of the celebration of that space, which then had the deck and stuff to look out on. So this area then, instead of the living room being in a double height or the seating space in the double height, we actually had the dining space in the double height. That actually made for the living space in this sort of sheltered area, which made it slightly more cozy. And then that sort of transitioned into your den, which took the coziness of the two spaces sort of together. This is a beautiful rendering on the floor that we've had Asian Paints do for us with their tile collection. It's something that can be customized, something that can be user specific. Of course, they didn't limit themselves to one option. So we actually had 2 of them depending on the palette. So it kind of helps you envision that space at a presentation level to kind of help your client or help your end user see where you're imagining this. So are you going with a neutral floor with pops of color in terms of the furniture elements or not? We do have a guest room and a guest bathroom tucked into this floor, but that was not sort of the hero of this story. It was more the celebration of living and the celebration of entertainment that came to the forefront. I'll just run you through some pictures of the site, which kind of give you a more holistic idea of where this site came from. So this is sort of that entrance passage. We've used a wallpaper on this side. Again, lots and lots of options that you can pick from Asian Paints. And they're very eager to work with you on customized solutions, which are possible. You come into the main dining space, and like I said, this is completely double height. We've sort of enhanced the indoor-outdoor view by using an antique mirror, which is going all the way 26 foot high. And it sort of brings in the greenery and the sunlight and all of that. So it's almost in a very, very sun-drenched kind of space. This is the pantry that I spoke about, which has all of her very near and dear equipment placed in. It makes way for entertainment. It makes also a slight pocket window, which you can access the service kitchen from. So you can kind of, have the stuff which is cut and chop and then brought to you, and then you can kind of serve it from here. This is another visual of that sun-drenched space. Of course, we did very minimal intervention in terms of soft furnishings by the window. We wanted as much natural light to come through. So these are just shears. Of course, they're motorized because that height is impossible to kind of tug and pull at. We did these very bespoke pieces and very customized pieces of furniture, which were for her need and specific. She was working a lot from home even back then when we did this house. This was pre-lockdown because she had young kids, and her work kind of allowed her to do that. So it was a space where we had built a custom table where she could do her Zoom calls. And then there was also a lower bench where her kids could kind of hang out and read. These beautiful brass sort of reeds became support at one level at the bottom, kind of also became backrest at one point. We've kept the color palettes in terms of the furniture kind of neutral, adding just pops in terms of the cushions or, a unique bar or some artwork that she possessed. Again, this is the view looking back from the double height space into that den. Like I said, this used to be a wall earlier, which we broke and became these sliding, folding sort of French doors. So each of these door panels kind of slides and stacks against this green wall back here. So you can open up that room and have the TV room as well a part of your living space. So if you have a larger group of people there, then you can open up this space and use it as together. And if not, then it can be closed out and used separately. If you see a detail of the dining, it's actually a table in two parts. We've made this specifically because she likes to do sit-down dinners where she kind of serves and plates her food. So you have the option to split the table into two and actually have just, seating of four on either side and service through the center. So again, it creates a different setting. You can, of course, move them aside also when you have larger counters, take the chairs away and arrange buffets. So as the house was a celebration of meeting, gathering, conversation, and entertainment, all of it around food, this sort of became the focus of our living space. Just some more visuals of how the space transforms in the night. It really allows, the twilight or your evening light to come in and become a part of the space. It becomes much warmer. The crispness of the sunlight goes away. The warmth of the evening and the dusk light kind of comes in. And then she traveled a lot as well. And so she had stories and this whole story of the living room is about stories and memories. And so she had a lot of things that she had acquired over her travels. So if you see these bugs, which are here on this wall, these are from a flea market in Copenhagen, where they're all made out of recycled material. There are some headlights of a bicycle. There are fan coils. There are forks and spoons discarded. So they're made into these recycled. So she brought them and said, we need to find a place for them. So we were lucky enough to find this, again, beautiful wallpaper, which again showed like a forest, but a sort of deeper, darker theme. So you kind of don't see the bugs very visually on the wall, but you kind of discover them when you walk around them. Just a more detailed view of the French doors. These are the points where they open up and lend themselves into this multi-functional, multi-adaptive sort of space. And then this just shows you a connect of the lower floor to the upper floor in sort of this monolithic sort of material. It makes way for the next story on the upper floor to start. Again, we've used a whole bunch of very interesting tiles on the upper floor, but we've sort of cut this short to a presentation on the living room. So if you are a young designer who's just starting out your career, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I would have to give is to kind of believe in yourself, for one, and listen to the end user, because your clients are your end users, and they are the ones who kind of live in that space or use that space. And so we come out of school with all of these notions of, I have these grand plans to design, and I will think of these innovative things, and all of that is great. But I think what really works is to kind of connect with that end user. So really listen to the story, and all of our projects have a story, and all of the stories are derived from interactions with that client. So that those first 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings are just about conversation. It's just about how you live, how you eat, how you sleep, how many people occupy your home. Do you really, like, people will come to you with a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom saying, I have 4 people in the house, I have 8 people in the house. You need to understand the dynamics of their relationship. Are they okay with changing the 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom into 1 less bedroom so that your living spaces are larger, so that you have more idea of community living, you have an idea of how the family as a whole comes together. So those are important cues to take from. We have lots of examples of things which have worked. Like this was one of the examples that we showed you. But we've also have examples of people where they've said that, our whole house is about inward living. We are very private people. We hardly have anybody who comes home. And then your approach to that home would be very different from this, where yes, you do have common spaces, but then you maybe break them up into smaller areas between rooms, which you create smaller interactions. So the dynamic of that house would be very different. Interestingly enough, in the same building, we are doing another duplex, and the approach to that home is going to be very different because the family is very different. Their tastes are very different. The sense of aesthetic is very different. This home had a lot of history in terms of things that were brought in from the client in terms of history and memory. The home that we are going to be doing, the client is more a minimalist. So the palette will be far more neutral. It will be far more quiet. It's about using one material through the whole space. Choosing that right material which resonates with them. So I feel that would be my biggest word of advice is listen. We as designers can talk on and honestly have concepts and stuff, but I think all of that comes into reality only when you actually listen to your end user. So that would be my biggest word of advice.
So thank you so much, Ekta ma'am, for taking us through the presentation. It was really insightful and gave us a lot of ideas throughout the session. So on the similar lines, if like you were talking about customer centricity and how you spend 3, 4, even 5 meetings in having the conversation to know the customer better, to know their stories better. So just wanted to understand what are the challenges that you are facing while you are, designing is one part of your work, if I have to say, and then, executing that entire project is another part. So what are the challenges that you face in the entire process?
I think I would have to say that, very rightly said, design is a part of our profession, and it's the part of the profession we love. Interaction with the client, designing, to kind of come up with new solutions, to kind of innovate, to look for newer, more interesting materials, to have conversation with, people like y'all, because y'all are always innovating and finding new product, to kind of see where the new product can be used, has it not been used before? So those are the things we really enjoy. I think one of the things that we get bogged down with and get tired with is kind of the entire sort of PMC of the job. Even execution to a certain extent is enjoyable because you're interacting with the carpenter or the civil person or whatever, and you're kind of doing details and drawings, and you're sort of innovating around the way, which is an interesting part of the process. And I don't think you can isolate construction from design entirely. I think you shouldn't. But I think the whole management of the project is what becomes tedious. It's like it would be great to have a one-point contact to say, okay, I have picked these tiles or I have picked these technical lights, and I'm looking for ornamental lights which look like these, and all of that. But to kind of just put it together and bring it to site, the more mundane sort of things, which I think most designers get exhausted with, and it occupies more of your bandwidth. So if there was a way to kind of just have a turnkey kind of solution to that, it would be great, because then you would do what you love doing, which is designing and innovating and interacting, and removing yourself from this sort of more painful experience.
Okay, great. So Asian Paints has been the, we understand, we at Asian Paints, we are like the solution provider, whatever the challenges that architects and interior designers are facing today. So we understand whatever that you're saying, and we resonated with it. That is where we have come up with a service wherein we provide the professional management system of the site. We take care of the management as well as execution of the system. So your work essentially would be understanding the need of the client, designing, and then procurement of the material, executing the sign, adhering to the timelines, handing over the site, and whatever the warranties that are related to several things, that all would be taken care by us. So,
is it something new? Because it's not something that I've heard of before. And I think most designers would jump at an opportunity like that, where you take away all the nitty-gritty work from us.
Yeah, so it's not, I would not say call us new, because it's almost been an year and a half that we have been in this. The service that we have is called Beautiful Home Services, and we have launched it in more than 70 cities right now. We have been executing a lot of projects. So that is where we come into picture. And yeah, you were saying something, ma'am?
No, go on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a great. I mean, that would be an ideal situation if you could, like I said, leave the designer to design, because that's what they like to do and that's what they enjoy, and remove the ordeal of the movement of material and all of that out of their scope, which would be ideal. I think that is one challenge every designer faces, and I think when especially younger designers are starting out, you're always struggling to find trustworthy contracting teams, things like that. Just honest, righteous people who will help you. I mean, of course, we've been in the profession for many years now, and you've developed your teams of people. But we're always looking for new people to collaborate with, and it would have 100% help younger people on board.
Yeah. So I think Shreya has put it rightly that, and you have put it rightly rather that, the service of a one point of contact is very useful to the designers, especially because, the hassle that it comes with, right? To coordinate with, say, multiple people to get the work done is really huge at this point of time. And it's a very unorganized market also, I would say, of this entire execution space, right? So yes, we have been trying to streamline it to a certain extent. And yes, that's where we launched this Beautiful Home service. So asking you one more question from my side would be, of course, you talked about, customer preferences and listening to the narrative. So this entire tiles proposition that we came with recently, right, of customization, how do you see customers, choosing to customize tiles rather than, say, selecting it from a standard offering or standard showroom? Do you see that trend really coming up, or is it still in the nascent stages?
I think that's a great question. And for sure, I think customization is here to stay. Anything that is not ready to be picked up off a shelf is something that will work. Everybody wants, I mean, there's so many times like we're doing, all our work is through referral, right? You don't place an ad saying, hire me. So all of it is referral work. So sometimes you're doing a home and then, their brother gets in touch with you or an aunt gets in touch with you. So it's all referral. But one of the common things everybody tells us is, I don't want what you did in their house, which is obvious because, you don't want the same thing. But I really liked those tiles that you used in the powder bathroom, or I really loved that wallpaper that you used in the kids' room. I want something like that, but different. And I think customization works so well for that, because even for us as designers, I mean, beyond a point, I think why we move away from using, more like marble or things like that, what we've done and dusted with is sort of that. It's like, can I use a new natural stone? Because can I use it in a different way? Can I use a more different kind of hand-printed tile? Can I print my own design? So I think customization works from an end user perspective. It also works from a designer perspective. I would, most people would love to say, okay, I'm envisioning this space like this, and I have this idea of doing a black and white sort of wallpaper across this wall, but I don't want to do stripes. I don't want to do botanicals. I don't want to do childish doodles. What else can I do? Can I do something? I mean, recently we had a kid whose room we did, and he doodles really well, and that's what he does. He's like 11 years old and he doodles. And we had this thought of converting one of his doodles into a wallpaper. And it would be great to have, like you all, take that doodle from us, convert it technically into something that is, and you have the know-how and the bandwidth to kind of create it into a product that's not going to fail. So I'm not trying something new. So then that kid is thrilled. I mean, he gets his own drawing on a wall, which has been beautifully executed. So yes, customization is key, and I think it's the only way forward.
Yeah. So one interesting thing is that it's like very Well, when we customize something, I would say rather it's a personalization also, right? So
Right.
as per your tastes, as per your as per our this thing, whatever our preference is, right, in terms of design or say in terms of palette, right, everything comes alive. That's where it's yes, I agree that it's a concept that might pick up also, right? It's in place as of now. It will also pick up. uh One more thing that you mentioned was about wall coverings, right? So I was just curious. So taking a clue from those Hollywood movies wherein I've seen a lot of European homes entirely in wall coverings, right? So that trend somehow, I think, in India I have not seen much, right? Wherever I've gone, there is a lot of paint. Yes, absolutely. How do you see this entire wall covering concept coming up?
Quite frankly, honestly, we do use it. It just depends on the place you use it. A lot of times in Bombay, we don't land up doing it because of moisture, humidity. We have so much humidity. And even though we use dehumidifiers and things like that, the walls still, you're in apartment buildings, you're not in control of the exterior shell. So a lot of times there's hesitation towards that. But we do work in Delhi and Kanpur and places which are more hot and dry, where we have used coverings all over. And I know a lot of designers who've done that as well. And honestly, it's about the way you use it. It doesn't have to be an overdone space. It doesn't have to be a space which will become overbearing. It's about balances, it's about checks and balances. And that's what design is about. So I don't think it's, and quite honestly, at least for us, and I know a lot of people in the industry are not really trend followers. We're more people who kind of want to build homes, especially, or all places that we design, which are more classic and are here to stay. 20 years down the line, you should still look at your home and say, wow, of course, there will be maintenance things that you need to take care of, but you should not feel like, my God, I feel like this, like overdone this wall. And, yes, you will need to change your upholstery, you will need to change your soft furnishings, but it should be more timeless. So in that sense, I think I wouldn't really say it's a trend, but I do think it's a concept that a lot of people are using now still as well, and more than before. And I don't think it's because, I hope it's not because it's the latest trend, but it's more because I think the wallpaper are more evolved. You have many, many more choices than what you did in the past. And you're able to kind of find that balance. And like you said, if you can customize it, great. I mean, I'd like all four walls in that room to be something that I imagine, not just a paint shade.
Yeah. So very recently, we have also, started this customization of wallpaper, right? We have come up with the manufacturing setup in India, wherein we will be customizing wallpapers as per your requirements also. So that's also something that we have recently come up with. So I think that also gets taken care of from the next time. Yeah. So.
Okay. So, ma'am, while you were taking us through the presentation, you mentioned something about lights, like how you have managed to match up the lights with the concept that the client had. And, towards the evening, you would have warmer, cozier lights so that, they feel like home and very comfortable. So I wanted to understand like lighting as a market. It's not very organized right now. Like I would see local players all around. I would just move into the market and I would see 2-3 shops over there. So what exactly, as a designer, interior designer, you face a challenge while you're procuring it or while during the selection of these lights? What are the challenges that you face?
I think quite rightly, like you said, if I'm doing local procurement, there is no standardization, which I think is a big problem. A lot of our technical lights, when they are higher end homes and stuff, we tend to import them for that very reason. You're not guaranteed that lumens are consistent. You're not guaranteed that kelvins are consistent. You're not, So yes, to have a branded end product, to have a diffuser which is branded, to have a driver which is branded, all of that is very important, because I feel it really plays an important role in how you perceive that space. Because you may use a 3000 Kelvin light, But if you've sourced it from two different agencies for whatever reason on that site, maybe one type was not available with the other, you will have a difference in production because that bulb or the driver or that diffuser is different. So that just becomes a pain for you as a designer, because then between one room and the next room, I mean, you spec the same light, but it's not the same. So if there was standardization of that, I think it would be great.
Okay. So we at Asian Paints, we do have lighting solutions for utility lighting, architectural lighting, and decorative lighting. So right from a chandelier to a normal utility bulb, we have all these ranges. Apart from, you were talking about standardization and how we can probably give you a branded solution. We have also tied up with Tiswa lighting for our utility and our decorative lighting. So we have all the ranges available with us. And like you said that, you might have to visit multiple vendors for one, for utility light, you'll visit another vendor for a
Nothing like having everything under one roof.
Yeah,
Nothing like it, trust me.
So that is what we are trying to do here. And we do have all these solutions. We have three entire different ranges to be suiting the client's need and the.
No, and then it's so much easier, no? Then because when you sit across an electrical drawing, all you have to do is take your manual and spec, based on capacity of light in terms of wattage, all the way to light quality in terms of lumens. It's like just one manual that you read off, because see, decorative lights are still fun and it's still fun to source and it still needs to work within that space. A technical light, or very honestly, your client doesn't even get into. It's like they're not interested in knowing what light you're speccing. It's more important for you because that light defines the way that space is perceived. It defines the way the artwork looks on the wall. It defines the way that couch gets lit. So all of that. So I mean, nothing like having a standardized one-stop shop.
Yeah. So coming from again that entire one umbrella offering of you, I also saw in your presentation certain wood aesthetics getting used, right? So in kitchen, I saw a lot of wood usage. I also saw some other space where, there were a lot of wood usage being portrayed. So now coming again to this, check that how do you see this entire, wood aesthetics evolving? So we have seen, the traditional finishes that the contractors do with, the normal wipes and all, right? To a more sophisticated, solution, which are say more heat resistant or more scratch resistant getting offered in the market, right? So how do you see exactly this entire wood solution and wood aesthetics space evolving?
So, I mean, like I said, I mean, design, I think, is one aspect of the project. But when you do spec materials, every project is important in terms of design, but what's also important is the longevity of the project, right? It's like you want your things to last. Nobody wants to spend all this money, build this beautiful home, and then in another 2 years have to call people in for touch-ups and things like that. So I think we've always been using wood for a very long time. And like you said in the past, yes, things were done a more hand-polished kind of way, an oil-rubbed kind of way. Now, yes, there is a trend moving towards more machine-finished. You have more mechanical processes of finishing your wood. So yes, if we had products which came you want to do your wall paneling, like you would want to panel an entire wall. Now, while you don't have control of what happens to your wall from the outside of your apartment, still on the inside, if you want to make it some amount of scratch resistant, I can't make it scratch proof because if you have a kid with, rollerblades going across your living room, you're going to have some. So we understand and we explain to our clients the pros and cons of using A material versus B. But if the finishes would at least achieve a certain life to that product, it would be a huge benefit, so then you can recommend them saying that, no, I think a company is better to pick your veneer from because they use, say, 3 layers of UV coating on them, or it's a machine made, it's a machine finished product. It would 100% help.
Yes. So yeah, this wood finish is also something that we, started taking very, aggressively when it comes to the architects, because usually when designers use wood, it's in a much more meticulous manner. Right? They design it very, very nicely and very intricately. Right? And to protect that, we have also come up with many solutions, and I'm sure that is also what we have been discussing, with all the designers. So that is also something that is from Asian Paints' side. Now this was more, coming from this concept of being an umbrella brand, right? So that's where I thought I'll ask you this question. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so ma'am, during the presentation again, you talked about some upholstery, some cushions, some fabrics, right? So when as a designer, when you are designing a particular space, I understand the palette that you decide, and probably the design also. You could probably sit at your home and decide what exactly. But what about sourcing it? How about again, like I mentioned about lightings, similar thing happens with fabrics. There are multiple players, online players, offline players. So what exactly, how do you do it?
So like you said, there's a certain concept that comes with the space, and with that concept comes a mood board. So you have to establish it very early on so that you're on track and on point. And of course, few things change here and there along the way, but what that space is going to look like, you need to visualize in totality. That's the only way to do it. So mood boarding is a very, very important part of how we do anything. Fabric procurement is a little bit easier than lighting, I would say. I mean, I think there are people in the industry which have been very good with fabric manufacture, dyeing, all of that. But again, there are batch variations. So for example, today, if I've ordered shears for a living room, whatever, X number of meters, and you run short, and then you have to order another batch, they will come with a pre-rider saying that, oh, next batch is going to have a 10% variation and you need to make do. Now, that's not okay, right? Who's going to be okay with that? So then you have to then figure out, okay, now if I do have 10% less, how are we going to now integrate this shortfall into making it a design feature? Do we add side panels to it? Do we use borders? Do we use maybe like a side vertical pelmet to kind of create a frame? So there are multiple end solutions to this. And I think it would be better if it could be standardized. So again, if you had a one point of place that you said, okay, these are the fabrics, this is how much I need, I don't want batch variation, because if you had large reams, considering it's a production house, then you would have large reams already pre-produced and kept for you to just start and dispatch. So that would 100% be an easier way to go about.
Okay. So coming to that, I mean, as a solution, we have organized that for the interior designers and architects, wherein we have our ranges, which are like you talked about shears and everything. So we have also tied up with Pure. Pure is something which is, a leading market player. When I talk about fabrics, they have all these curtains, all these decorative items.
They're beautiful stuff for sure.
Yeah. So we tied up with Pure for that. And apart from that, we have our own range, which is called the Sabyasachi range, wherein we are again, bringing. So that is designed by Sabyasachi himself. And then
if you can't afford a Sabyasachi sari, at least you can have a Sabyasachi curtain.
Or a wallpaper for that matter.
Or a wallpaper, yes.
Yeah. So that is what we're trying to do. So we do have all the ranges present with us, and just to understand what exactly the market needs right now. Like I mentioned about Tiswa, we are branding with Tiswa, we are tied up with Tiswa. Here we are tied up with Pure to understand and organize the entire segment for you.
Nice, great. I think this has been educative for me also to figure out what all you all do under one umbrella. I think it should be out there for more people to know.
Right. So like we said, like you said, that you also need one-stop solution. That is what we are trying to become, one-stop solution for all your decorative needs.
Super.
Yeah, so Shreya, how did you like the session? I think it was very exciting, to speak to a designer and understand her, design philosophies and design challenges that, she faces, right? And to overall know the space, it was a really good interaction with her, I felt.
Of course, it was really exciting and amazing to understand what the challenges that these architects and interior designers are facing in day-to-day life. Almost by going through the presentation, I felt like, I am living an interior designer's life. So yeah, very exciting. Love to be a part of this conversation. So
Yeah.
I think Shomik looks equally excited. And hi, Shomik.
Hi,
Hi,
Soumya.
Shreya. Hi, Nikunj.
Yeah.
So Shomik, I think you are getting married recently, and you would want to decor your house and would want to understand what all nitty-gritties are involved. So yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited to like revamp my house and renovate it. Okay, actually redesign it as well. So I would like to know a few things from your end. So firstly, when I look at my house, I look at the walls and the other spaces that comprise the house. And since it is my house and I want to feel the same, so basically, if you can help me with how to add some personalized touch to the house as well as some Indianness to it, because I am someone who like to get something out of the country. So basically, if you can like guide me through it.
Okay. See, so basically there are two aspects, right? One is the wall decor, obviously, and one is the space decor, right? In wall decor, we have the paints available with us. We also have textures and wall coverings available with us, right? Now, since you spoke about some Indianness also, right? So just to highlight in wall coverings, which we have under the brand name of Nilaya, we have also tied up with certain renowned designers like Sabyasachi, right? Who design wall coverings for us under Sabyasachi range. Uh, Apart from, this wallpapers, I would say textures is also a space wherein you can add a lot of customization to it, right? So we have something called Calcicruda wherein you can, emboss anything, any letters, any image, right? You can customize it in your way, right? So that is also there. In case of space, I would say there are a lot of, offerings that we have come up with. uh, we have tiles, right, which is customizable, which we also pointed out in the presentation. We also have, soft furnishings, right? So we have tied up with Pure and all your sofas, all your, curtains, and these soft furnishings can be done by Asian Paints' brands, right? That is one. Another thing is also we are into furniture, right? So some furniture about say we have Royal range of furniture, we have Adore range of furniture, right? So that is also available with us. Apart from that, we also have in kitchen spaces. I would say we have sleek kitchens, right, wherein you can get modular kitchen done. Uh, Also in bath fittings, we are into this, CP fitting, sanitary. So bath space also is taken care of, right? So all this can be, explored in your space, right, from Asian Paints. Very quickly, I have briefed you what all
Great,
are these.
great. So I never expected so much actually. And if I'm getting customization and everything, that is a great thing for me. Now, taking a liberty to be a bit more greedy out here, can Asian Paints also help me in like executing my site? Like designing is one thing, product is one thing, but also executing. So is there any way I can get that as well?
Yeah, so Shomik, basically, we understand that designing is one part, and then execution is another part, and there where the majority of hard work and vendor management lies. So we have come up with a service called Beautiful Home Services, wherein we would take the entire execution part as a turnkey. So Asian Paints would take care of the project management, they would take care of the adhering to the timelines, and we would take care of executing, procuring the material selection, handing over the site, and all the warranties that are intact. So end-to-end solution. So maybe tomorrow you might come up as a customer to us wherein you don't even have a design. So we can take up the designing as well as execution work. If you have a designer in place and you want us to just take up the execution work, we can probably coordinate and collaborate with that architect and interior designer and take up your project. So that's like end-to-end solution decor of your decor needs. That is what Asian Paints today is.
Great. That is something which I will definitely look out for and hoping to interact with both of you a lot in the coming days as well. Yeah.
Sure, it would be a pleasure for us.
Yes, yes. So I think, Shreya, we had good time speaking, to first of all an architect and then a customer, right? And it was a good experience, I would say. I think it's an exciting journey that we are catering
God,
to.
very exciting. And me, I personally have so much of interest in all of this, so even more excited. Thank you so much. Thanks, Shomik. Thanks.
Thank
Ankur.
you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
That really was an enriching experience. Thank you, Architect Ekta Parekh and Team Asian Paints. You all have certainly brought to the table new information and insights. We look forward to your presence in the future for the next episodes of Space Bros Season 3. Until then, stay tuned and follow us on Instagram at IDAC Expo. Stay healthy, stay safe.